let everybody know that so our next session coming up at 10:55 will be hosted by past Governor Terry Ross, and it's going to be tapping into your potential for growth. It's going to be a very interesting session. So if you're looking to be involved in that, just stay on this session.
Served as president and on the board of that club several times. He was a longtime coordinator of Apple Festival and the chair of the Saskatoon Kiwanis Foundation. As you know, Terry was a formula chair for 3 years and governor of Western Canada 2019 to 2020. Terry has been doing a stellar job as the current membership chair, and we look forward to him taking a new path as the chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee next year. So without further ado, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning, Terry.
Thank you, Ken. Do I have the screen now, Dennis?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Oops. I'll make it. Okay, welcome to the mid-year conference, Western Canada District. This session is called Tapping Your Potential for Growth. And I didn't pick that topic, or I didn't pick that title. I don't know, I think Roland did that. But basically what it encompasses, do you want to grow your club? Is your club still relevant? Are your projects tired? Are you a hands-on club or a check writing club? What I'm going to try to do today is learn how you can answer these questions and still be an organization where kids need Kiwanis. The agenda, we'll talk about a community survey and a membership survey first. We'll talk a little bit about coaches and mentoring. The DEI, which is a diversity, equality, and inclusion program, and the importance of partnerships. As I normally do in some of these things, I probably have way too much information. So I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, and hopefully we have time for questions. This community survey, talk about people and the demographics, both inside and outside the club. The projects, are they still relevant in your community? Check writing, hands-on, do you have new projects? Where does your club do? How long has your club been in existence? And what's changed in that time? I know my own club has been in existence since 1919. And we have a pretty good history of the club over time, and it's changed drastically over that time. We've gone from predominantly a business-orientated club that met downtown in Saskatoon to a little bit smaller club and doing some different types of projects. In your community, one of the things that's changed drastically in your community over time is the demographics. We have new Canadians. We have an Indigenous population that wants to get involved and be included in many things. There's many new areas in your city. How many Kiwanians do you have versus the population in your community? Many communities had very large Kiwanis clubs in the past and are now down to small clubs, nowhere near mirroring the population density and the population potential for Kiwanis. There's new groups out there, new groups, BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and people of color, the LGBTQ groups, many other groups that may be interested in. Everybody in those groups has an interest in kids and the growth and success of children. Your projects, are they relevant to the community and the youth? Have you reviewed your projects lately? Have you had any new projects? And where I would go with that is, do you ask your new members if you have new members? Many clubs don't have any new members, but even through the pandemic, there was over 20 clubs in the States that had over 20 to 25 new members through the last 5 or 6 months. And what do you need to do for new projects? You can still do some projects and do many projects that are good for kids. So you want to upgrade? We're going to back up just a little bit. I want to talk about the community survey a little bit, and the both people and the projects. A community survey, if you do a community survey, you just can't go and assume it. You really have to look at it and work it out and find out what's going on in your community. Is there new groups out there? It takes a little bit of work and a little bit of time, but it's a really valuable to find out where you might want to go and grow your club in the future. Your projects are typically in-house. That's an in-house survey where you talk to about your projects and your members. The last 2 or 3 surveys I did for our club and a couple of other clubs when I was Lieutenant Governor and I was Governor-elect, we use SurveyMonkey, and SurveyMonkey is a very easy survey system to develop and work. So it works very well, and it's inexpensive. I had a free version so that you can do that, or you can buy a more extensive version, but it's easy to set up the questions and get back the responses on a basis that's secretive. You don't have to give your name and information to it, so everybody is open to do. It's really open. They can put in whatever they want and add the comments that they want without fear of retribution from anyone else. So if you want to upgrade your club, so first look at the style of club you are. Are you a traditional club? Many of our clubs are traditional old white guy clubs, and much as I hate to admit that I'm one of the old white guys, we do things, and when I was in the formula and when I was governor, one of the statements that I started many of my presentations with was, if your club says the first sign or the famous last words of a dying club are, we've always done it this way. So if you continue to do things that way, there was a comment earlier made by Chris Martz, is the same old thinking gets the same old results. There's many new types of clubs now, and many clubs have been forced to change because of the pandemic, gone from the weekly meal meetings to bi-weekly or bi-monthly meetings, so that you can go from a traditional club, you can be a 3-2-1 club, 3 hours of service, 2 hours of social, and 1 hour of meetings on a monthly basis. You can have a satellite club, and that was talked about in the previous session. The satellite, if you have perhaps you have a group of young people who don't fit with your traditional meeting style, but they want to be in Kiwanis. They can meet on their own and be part of your club and do their own projects, do their own fundraising, and your club and the satellite club can work together to accomplish the end results. Virtual club. This is the ideal opportunity for a virtual club this year. I must admit, I have a little problem getting my mind around a virtual club that doesn't actually meet and what they might do. But President Art Riley has a goal to establish many more virtual clubs this year in his term as president. You can be a single project club. Now, one of the things, the most known, most visible single project club in Kiwanis is the Kiwanis Club of Pasadena, which works solely on the Rose Bowl parade. They get the largest number of volunteer hours. They have all kinds of friends of Kiwanis, all kinds of Kiwanians that show up in Pasadena to help them build floats. And they build 5 or 6 boats. They build the Kiwanis float. They build the Rotary float. They build the Honda float. They build the Toyota float. It's a huge project, and thousands of hours of volunteerism in a very short period of time prior to the Rose Bowl parade. But they spend all year working on that project to get it together and have it ready to go. Maybe some of your older members aren't as interested in being part of the day-to-day, week-to-week things of some of the younger members. So maybe you want to have a Golden K Club and move some of your members to a Golden K Club, which will still meet, still participate in the projects, but not necessarily develop them, help the other clubs out. Why might you want to change? It's refreshing to have a change. The things get stale, guys sit in the same seats, they do all of those kinds of things that get really stale over time. Yeah, blow out the cobwebs and do what you can to facilitate change. Move around, get up, meet in different places, change up your meeting format. Some clubs, our club doesn't do it, but the many clubs have the president arrange and organize the meetings for the whole year. We have always rotated membership chair, or not membership chairs, but program chairs. When it was before the pandemic, we had a new program chair every month. Now we do it on a quarterly basis, and we're only meeting every other week. So consider that why this is happening. You might want to move your meeting. Many clubs historically, particularly the traditional clubs, met downtown because everybody worked downtown and most of their members worked downtown, and it was easy to get out at lunch and walk to them. It's not the case anymore. We have several of our members who work, at least a half an hour, 40 minutes away from where we have traditionally met. Maybe we want to move to a place that's more accessible to the members who are working, and it's not as critical to those of us who are retired. So let's leave surveys and where you're going with that for a few minutes and talk about coaches and mentoring. If your club is stalled and it's an existing club, talk to your lieutenant governor, talk to your membership chair in a district, and find out if you can get a club coach. And really what a club coach is a Kiwanian from another club or another division who would come and visit with you and do an analysis of what your club is doing and where you are, and hopefully be able to give you some advice on where to go and how to change. You might not like it, but it might be realistic, and you don't have to accept it, but you can do those things. Coaches on new clubs are, a coach on a new club would probably stay with a new club for somewhere from 1 to 2 years. And from 1 to 2 years, you could, your job is to advise and mentor the new club and get them started and get them running with in the to the Kiwanis format and the Kiwanis goals and projects where kids need Kiwanis. Individual mentoring. Individual mentor is something that some clubs do. Not every club does that. But basically what it means is that you assign a mentor and you assign members of your club to mentor other members in your club. And you can have new members, you can have older members or senior members mentor new members. You can have old members mentor other old members to make sure that they get informed and they talk about coming to the club, and it keeps them in, once you miss 1 or 2 meetings, it's easier to miss the third one. So that it would keep you talking and keep your people together. gives you a steady reminder of projects and interest in the club, but mix it up with old and new, young and old. Change it up annually or every other year to so that you don't have the same mentors all the time. But it keeps people talking and keeps them interested and knowledgeable about the club. Oops. The next item is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to read this screen and then I'm going to talk about it for a minute. Diversity is where everyone is invited to the party. Equity means that everyone gets to contribute to the playlist. And inclusion means that everyone has the opportunity to dance. This is the DEI committee was set up by Kiwanis International last fall, and late September, early October, and they were going to meet monthly. And found out after the first meeting that that wasn't enough. So they've been meeting bi-weekly ever since, and they're got enough information and enough stuff together that they're going to put out a survey to the Kiwanis membership. The survey is going to all Kiwanis members in the world. All Kiwanis members will get the survey from Kiwanis International, and they're looking for a big response on this to find out where the issues are in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what's going to happen with this is that it's going to, all of the returns on this will go to an outside organization, and they will just give the results back to Kiwanis International. There will be no names. It'll be a guaranteed secret so that you can do whatever you want. You can put in there and say whatever you feel, and but they'd like to see a really big response to this survey. DEI is becoming more and more of a focus of news, a focus of organizations, a focus of just about everything that you can think about, because the everything from the Black Lives Matter organization to Indigenous organizations to immigrant organizations are lots of them in the past have been left out of what's going on in the world today. And I think that we have to be more concerned with what happens and how it affects our clubs. The clubs get it's very hard sometimes for those of us who are retired and older to talk to the millennials. The millennials have different ideas and different things than and different goals than we do. We're more attuned to long-term projects, regular projects, and the millennials and the groups on either side of the millennials are more interested in large, very large, explosive type projects that you work to put it together, it happens, and you go away for 6 or 8 months and do it again next year. It's not something that they're not as necessarily as interested into something that happens every week or every couple of weeks. So that it's something that we have to consider within our clubs and how we treat those people when they come to visit our clubs and when we're looking to approach them for membership. So be aware of that, and it's something that we can keep in mind all the time. Once again, remember the survey and encourage everyone you know in Kiwanis to respond to the survey. The last item that I want to talk about is partnerships. And partnerships are an interesting topic because most of our clubs are partner with someone in some form or another. You partner with the schools on your SLP programs. You partner with businesses in fundraising and promotion. Things like the toy projects in Division 7 at Christmas and the Christmas promotions. You partner with other clubs to do things. Why is this important? It's important because you get more people and support, you get more ideas, you strengthen your club. Members want to belong to groups that are successful. So it's important to establish, you can't do everything by yourself. It doesn't always work. And you can partner with cities, with a local service, other organizations within your city. You get wider promotion out of this. We partner with a music festival in Saskatoon, and they do, to the extent they can, they promote Kiwanis as a partner in their music festival. You can get promotion from other organizations. If you give some money to somebody, they can become a partner and they can promote your organization and what you have done for them. It's a potential source of new members. And many people, many members who deal with groups like school teachers and other organizations are afraid to ask those people to join the club. You don't need to do that. You just listen to the previous session where they gave informational meetings and they gave out a lot of information about the clubs, and let the people make their own decision. It's not your decision whether they'll be a good member or not, it's their decision. So you can look to schools, businesses. From your community survey, there may be any number of things that come up. Special interest groups. Special interest groups like the SLPs. The SLPs have they all have parents who are concerned about their kids. And one thing that I always feel and believe is that one of the big excuses for not joining service clubs or getting involved in other things with families with younger children, kids, is that the kids take all their time. There's so much stuff out there for kids to do now. And I know that, and I understand that. But I also believe that it's very important for parents to book some time for themselves. If they book some time for themselves, a couple hours a week with Kiwanis isn't really out of line, and it can be at lunch hour. It doesn't have to be at times that interfere with the kids. So, but you can look to schools, businesses, your community survey, groups that need both hands-on work and money, and other service clubs. Other service clubs probably aren't a good source of potential membership, but they're certainly a good source of help on projects. You can jointly produce projects. I know there's several instances in Saskatchewan where Kiwanis and Rotary have partnered to do bigger projects and bigger fundraisers. So bear that in mind. And they sometimes don't have enough people to do their promotions, and lots of us don't have enough people to do the things we'd like to do. So don't be afraid to approach anyone on a partnership basis. Increasing membership, use the meet and greet, new member events, social networking, local publicity, and stay tuned for the next presentation, prospecting and mining for gold for new members. I think that it'll be valuable as all these sessions are. So thank you. And do you have any questions?
Very good.
You've covered a lot of ground, Terry, as usual. I like the one screen on the DEI.
Yeah, that's
That was good.
new.
that was good. Want to share
Really
that
good.
with our club. Yeah.
Well, what I guess that for the information of everybody here, that I will be the DEI chair for the next year or two for the district, and I have no plans to do this by myself. So that we'll get a try to get a committee together of members from each of the divisions or each of the regions in Canada to
So
deal
Terry,
with this. And
Dennis, everybody else, that DEI slide, if you will, that DEI write-up should be included with every membership drive, virtual or
Agreed.
traditional, that we have.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
so.
Terry, a quick question for you. How
Yeah.
granular will the results of the survey will be? In other words, will we get something for our division, for our district, for our club, or is it just going to be a massive overall result?
No, my understanding is that we will get we'll get the full international spiel on this, but we will also get a district breakout for us and presumably by division. So so that we've been told that at least it'll be down to district, and hopefully it'll be, I didn't ask if it would go lower than that, but we will certainly get it for the district.
Good. Any other questions?
Going to be an interesting project, the DEI thing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nancy,
Terry,
Barry, go ahead. Yeah.
I've got a point. One of the things that we noticed, Roland and I have been doing a lot of work with the CKI group over the last while, and one of the things that we've noticed is that the CKI membership is extremely diverse. You know, that's something that you don't pay attention to, the fact that this is the next generation coming up, and amazingly diverse group of people who are involved. And I think that's something that we as older clubs need to pay attention to, because some of our members are stuck, especially in the rural areas, are stuck in their ways, stuck in their thoughts. And for the younger people coming into this generation, gender issues and cultural issues and such are very, very important. And it's something that we will have to pay attention to and make them feel welcome. So I'm really glad to see this program is going into place here, because it's going to be very important to us.
it's interesting because I look at my family and I look at my mother, and my mother was a terrible bigot. She, if you weren't white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, you were lesser. I'm not as much of a bigot as she is, but I'm still somewhat of a bigot sometimes. But my kids are significantly less than I am. They have friends that are various nationalities and various range of friends, and their kids. My granddaughter goes to school in North Calgary, and when she went to their orientation, she was only one of 3 kids in the class that had English as a first language.
Mm-hmm.
So it is because of immigration, and the world is changing many of those things, so that it's that
Gary,
we haven't dealt with in our group.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
My mother was South African, and they grew up with African servants, and my mother was just like your mother. She dark people were she used words for them, and she was born in 1915, and yeah, I know what you're talking about.